It's July in my Portland garden, and I have more plants than I have room. So today, I'm doing what every gardener does at this point in the season. Pulling things out, squeezing things in, and pretending this was the plan all along. Well, here we are, back at the ice cream bucket planting routine. Make some room here for this dahlia. And then we'll figure out some other get some other stuff to throw in there. Some more zinnias, California giant zinnias. Looks like I let those dry out though. So they'll get their watering right now. No, it doesn't actually look that dry. These ice cream buckets are not as wide as the other pots I was using, so I think I can only get a couple, 2 or 3. I'm gonna try 3, of course. Zinnias in here. Well, this one, I don't want to try to save it for anything, so I'm going to overstuff this, throw that guy in there, and if it survives, great. If not, that's okay. Well, I have one more ice cream bucket to empty here. This should work. Putting some potting soil on the bottom there. There are a couple of these worms in there. That's cool. What is this? A strawberry. It's something else that kind of fell out of there. Not sure, maybe it was an aster or something that got planted in there by accident. A rogue aster plant sitting in the strawberry bush, or something else. One of the others, this has got runners on it. Let me just try to fill in the gaps here. Okay, add a little bit of fertilizer to that. And I'll see you all back here to start planting up those ice cream buckets with some, you might guess what they are. Maybe some dahlias and some more zinnias. I'll be using some potting soil that I had put in other liter containers, anticipating that I would pot stuff up that I never actually potted up. So I've got that potting soil sitting there. That saves me from having to go out and get more potting soil to do this. Looking at this one and thinking maybe I should go ahead and refurbish it before I use it, because it's cracking all there. Yeah. Before I turn this one into a I want to refurbish that. What I mean by that is I'll sand the top here, reprime it, do some more gray paint on it, and silver paint that is, and try to make it come out better for the season. Being said, this one actually had been painted quite a bit, it looks like. I'm not going to try to touch this one up right now. I could though, I've got the brown paint, I could just try to touch this one up. Man, now that I'm looking at all these, maybe that's what I need to do with all of these, is just touch them up before. Well, no, this one's not. Yeah, I should. Well, I don't have anything in it. I should touch it up. And same thing with the other one. So, what I thought I was going to be doing, what this segment is about, is you start out doing one thing and realize you actually want to do something else. Again, I could do some touch-ups on this before. Hello. I am planting gladiolas here. I'm not sure if it's too late to get these out into the garden yet. These are summer bloomers. I saved them from last year, and then I put them in these pots to pre-sprout essentially. And I had, unlike my dahlias, I had really good pre-sprouting here. And see what it looks like there. This one's curious that I get these like extra, like, I don't know if that means that the little bulb in there is dividing, that I get these other little sprouts off of it. Anyway, I have a couple spaces here that I'm going to throw it in, and then I'm going to keep looking along this line where I might throw some more. I might get back in there and put some in between so that I have more like really close to each other as well. Why not? I've got plenty of them. I've got more plants than I've got room, so that inspires a different way of thinking about things for sure. I'm going to use a teeny bit of inorganic fertilizer when I put these in, just because I've concluded I'm not probably going to keep this soil here in service for more than this season. I previously was amending this with organic fertilizer, trying to build the soil here, but I don't have a compelling reason to build the soil here right now because of the thatch that is created by the hedges around it from the neighbor's side of the properties. And so that I'm just gonna grow these, give these guys as much ability to grow this season, everything I've got in here. I'm gonna figure out how to containerize this row essentially so that I'm not dealing with that issue next year. So dry here, even after I've watered so much, and I've watered every day quite a bit, and then we just had some rains. That's kind of a news update as I'm doing this. We had several days of heat into the 90s, and now we're back down into the 60s with some off and on raining for the next week. That's about how it goes as we enter July. Okay. I'm going to come along here and see if I see any opportunities for backfilling. What I meant by backfilling is adding more of these in between the ones that are already there, just planting them more densely. I grew just like a few gladiolas in a pot last year. That was my first time really growing them, so definitely not coming at this with lots of gladiola expertise. Garlic maybe getting ready. Usually the garlic's not ready till later August for me, but it's browning in some areas in a way that suggests it could be ready. I'm gonna have to keep looking for other opportunities to plant these gladiolas. Where else might I stick them? Well, I already have a row of asters coming along here, and I'm going to plant them more densely. I'm going to get in there in between them and put some more aster seedlings in there. Get some of those asters in, fill it in better. This is the state of the asters that are in the cell trays right now. They are root bound, is what that's called, and ready to go. So I'll get them in the ground and we will go from there. Similar to what I did with the gladiolas, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of inorganic fertilizer in there, just to carry them through the season. Again, this is the same bed where I've determined I'm not really going to be building the soil over time anyway. So I'm just giving it a little bit of boost for a good show this season, and then we'll kind of figure out what we're doing with these beds next year, how we do them differently. Let me grab This is a job for the dibbler. So I cut down on some of my leaning over in this process here by using my dibbler here. So far I've got 3 spots. Oh, there's an aster right there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. Went deep with that one, 5 spots. 6 spots there. That's going to give us some more room. So that might be the next thing I do. Maybe I'll stop there, then I'll work on taking out this lettuce and deciding what kind of goes in this next stretch, if it's more asters or something else, because I already have some snapdragons in here. I might want to continue that theme and put some snapdragons there too. So for the asters, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots there. I can get one right here. 7. Okay. Yeah, at this point I just drop it in. Watched Charles Dowding when he does this. It's kind of slick. He'll make his dibbler hole and then he'll just drop them in, and he doesn't even bother to form the soil around it because he figures that the soil structure that he has with the watering, it just kind of will form in around it naturally. I think that I do think that's the case, particularly in some of my pots where I've got nice potting mix in there that would do that. But with this kind of what I've got in here with this thatch that's in here, I don't know that I can rely on it to just naturally fill in that hole without me helping it out a little bit. 3 aster starts here to throw in here. That hole is exceptionally deep. Gonna put some more dirt in there. Now I'll do some more cleanup and maybe come back to you when I've scouted some more areas I can plant in. Well, I removed a lettuce that was here and revealed kind of a cleared area here that I can plant some things in. I already have a couple of snapdragons here, and so I'm going to go ahead and plant more snapdragons to just fill that out and make that kind of a snapdragon section. I'm really pushing it here. I've got this broccoli right here, a snapdragon like directly under it. We'll see how that flies. This one was kind of folded over this way, so it made me think it was right here, but there's actually nothing right here. So I'm going to plant one right here. Grab another one from my holding area. Off to do some more scouting, and I will report back with what I find next. Matty slug. The matty slug pest in the garden comes out and eats all the berries. My 3-year-old daughter. So, if you've been following along with me, we've been having this discussion or question about would the raspberries actually fruit growing a cane in this ice cream bucket, and the answer is yes. And I just tasted it and it's good. Well, the hero shot of the cherry tree garden has been this big purple cabbage for a while now. It's a red mammoth cabbage. Hero shot of the garden and the veggie garden in total, really. It's ready to come out. It's headed up. It's got a nice size head for, these red cabbages never have really big heads. It's firm, it's ready to go. So that's going to give me space for something else. I was thinking I could throw a tomato there. Well, I could probably throw a zucchini there if I had another zucchini plant. I think I've used all of them. But yeah, we'll have to take a look, consider what we want to put there. Well, the peas are done. I think with this cooler weather we might get some that come back, but they're just taking up space at this point, so I need to pull them out. Call the end of the pea season. I will say that I wasn't quite satisfied with the amount of peas I got. I didn't get very many, and I think I need to examine next year kind of just my process of how I planted these. And we had lots of vines, So just not enough flowering and enough peas, I think. My first summer squash of the season. Not sure if they got pollinated well enough to survive. We'll see soon. There's a little one in there that I think may not have gotten pollination, but it seems like it's actually growing, so maybe. So I've sketched out over here peppers and eggplants for this part of the west bed, and I am just backfilling an area that I've cleared out here. Got a little bit of fertilizer here, inorganic fertilizer today. Yeah, here we go. Some of this soil is soft enough I can just pull it back with my fingers. Then I use my knife to get in there and loosen up where it gets a little denser, or maybe it gets stuck into the thatch from the by hedge. You may have seen me complaining about that on other videos recently. Once I'm done planting these peppers, what I'm thinking is to surround it with some marigolds. Looks like it's going to rain today, so I'm going to hope it's rainy. I don't know if it will rain or by how much, so I'm going to hope that I can skip the watering it in and let it rain on me here. I'll give it a few hours. If I don't get a good rain, I'll just come back out and water these in, because even though we've got a rainy week, new seedlings really need to get their moisture. They can't necessarily rely on the unpredictability of our Pacific Northwest weather here. Okay, time to put some asters in. Tuck some asters in here. I should be able to just do this with my fingers, but we'll see. Oh, you know what? I didn't want to do asters here. I wanted to do marigolds. You know what? I'll do a row of asters at the front. No, I want to stick to my plan and do the marigolds. I won't get all of these in there, but I brought the tray over so I could have the whole palette to paint with. So I've got a combination of large white and large yellow marigolds. These are not the French marigolds. These will have fairly large flowers to them. Yeah, I'm going to plant them in and around the peppers and eggplants here and along the border here. Right there. Do one more here. I've pretty much crammed these in everywhere already. And sometimes when you're working this close, you got to stand back up and take a look at the whole thing to see, how's this looking? What does my imagination tell me this is going to fill out like? I think that's it. That's all I can cram in there. I need to go through and clean up this next stretch and see if there's any room to plant anything once I clean that stretch up a little bit. Well, I'm just cleaning one part of the bed, one section at a time, and then seeing what space might be available. So I'm going to start by moving these strawberry buckets down and out of the way, and then I'm going to be pulling this chard out because it's going to seed. Seeing what else I can do. Oh no! Just lost my strawberry bucket. Feels like fall today. We're supposed to be at the beginning of summer. I've got Leaves falling, gray skies, cool weather. Yeah, weird. Got a nice volunteer tomato here. Kind of don't want it there. I kind of want to pull it, but at the same time it's doing such a good job that maybe I just have to leave it. Even though they're blooming, they've got some dead flowers on them already and they're very leggy. So I'm cutting them back so that we can get some new flowers with hopefully shorter growth that are more bushy, not so leggy. That's what I mean to say that I'm hoping for. This is kind of funny actually, because I had AI assisted memes that I created, or that I had help creating with AI. Was this idea that I plant all this stuff together, and it had this funny picture with like a pepper and a squash plant and a tomato all sitting together in a way that seemed very unlikely or impractical, and yet actually that is exactly what's happening right here. So it's interesting, funny. If any of the stuff actually comes to maturity. But well, the pepper, we already have some peppers here. It looks like an Anaheim, so that part is working its way out okay. We'll see if the squashes actually do anything for us. Just a few weeds back there. Yeah, there's not a ton of room here at all if I want to get aggressive with it. So I've got a pepper right here. I could squash right there. I could probably squeeze another pepper right here if I wanted to get aggressive with it. Or I could just focus on getting some flowers in here in between things. I think I will do the latter. I'll just focus on getting some flowers in here. I wonder how many I can get in. That's a job for bring the dibbler out, and I can do that standing up and just kind of pro forma where I might stick some plugs. Get one there. One here. This will be a good place for asters. One there. Sneak another one right in here. To the extent that I'm sneaking them in here, we'll see if they can grow big enough before the squash gets in there to overtake them, really. One right there. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 spots I threw there. I need to go grab some fertilizer and have at it. Well, I am working on some odds and ends today, and I found some shishito peppers here to harvest, so I'm going to go ahead and get those. I'll probably see, I know there's some other peppers throughout the garden, so I'm just going to kind of harvest things as I'm looking around other things. I don't want to go on just a harvest binge at the moment. I typically like to get the shishito peppers when they're about this size. This is good for charring or blistering in a frying pan. That one I can let grow a little bit more, I think. And I like to get them when they're still green. I'm not looking for a hot pepper. I'm looking for kind of that shishito that can be medium to mild. Maybe once in a while, the roulette of the pepper is that you can get a particularly spicy one, but I'm willing to live with that for the rest of the experience, so to speak. This one looks kind of like a dud. I'm gonna just get rid of it. What do I have here? And then here, this is one that has actually matured into a red pepper, so that would typically be hotter than I would want for it. It's another dud. Get rid of that. My hope is that by harvesting, just not leaving them sitting on here, I'm inspiring the plant to produce some more. Shishito peppers are ready before the tomatoes, in my garden anyway.